What if your story could ignite a movement? At New Solutions Network, we merge truth, resilience, and reinvention, fueling shows that cut past the noise and light up what really matters: human potential. Police, athletes, survivors, incarcerated folks, visionaries, we bring raw, real voices the world needs to hear. Want to share your story? Want to sponsor change? Now is the time. New Solutions Network, unlocking the future, one voice at a time.
Welcome, everyone. This is a special edition of the Natanya Experience. Especially special because Natanya is going to have to sit here and be quiet. She has had an accident recently, and we're going to be talking with our special guest today, Ellyn Ito, about some of the things that we can do to help her heal. Natanya had a big fall about 3 weeks ago and has sustained a number of injuries, and we're hoping that Ellyn's technology will help her with some of that. So welcome, Ellyn.
Well, thank you very much.
Welcome.
I'm honored to be here, and it's especially fun to see both of you, all of you.
Would you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this game?
Yeah, sure. So I have been kind of a serial entrepreneur. Early on was in disruptive telecom, but the way I got involved with NeuroStim is one of my clients had this really cool technology back in 2013 that was a tongue stimulator to help people with gait and balance issues. I fell in love with what they were doing and then ended up learning about this beautiful world of neurostimulation, neuromodulation, using tools to help the body and the brain to heal itself. And so it was actually while I was there that this was during the pandemic. My son became very distressed, depressed, suicidal ideation. My daughter was very anxious. But really, it was my son who it was just terrifying. I didn't want to put him on meds because I wasn't sure how much of it was related to the pandemic versus other things. And so I started trying stimulators. I knew that there were things out there. And so I got my hands on whatever I could. And what we found is that the technology either created sensation, like pain or muscle pull, and that really freaked him out because he was anxious, or it didn't really work. And so I was at my wit's end because it was at the point where I was going to need to put him on meds when I was introduced to the co-founders of the MindVybe technology. And it's a vagus nerve and acupressure point stimulator. I heard vagus nerve and I was all over it. So went to visit them. And the first time my son went on this technology, it was literally as if he had smoked a joint. It's like his whole body had just kind of relaxed. And it was magical. I got all verklempt. I had to turn away because I even joked. I was like, it looks like you're high, David. And he started giggling, and I hadn't heard him giggle in I don't know how long. And so from that point on, I really started. How are you feeling? I started to engage with the founders, did diligence on their technology, realized how special it is in the world of vagus stimulators, and decided to leave my other company and help them get these devices out.
That's amazing.
That's the short story.
Thanks for that intro, Ellyn. Can you tell us a little bit about the vagus nerve and why it's so special in the body?
Oh my goodness, there's so much information now coming out about the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve is not one single nerve. It's actually a bundle of fibers that run from your brain to all of your major organs. And it's responsible for not only sending signals to your organs and their function, but it's also responsible for relaying information to the brain. So it really is kind of like the master conductor of your body's orchestra. It actually, there's over the past 10, 15 years or so, there's been a trove of research around how the vagus nerve is so central to the body's autonomic or your automatic nervous system processes, everything from your immune system to your digestive function to your cardiac and pulmonology functions. And one of the other things we're learning is that when an individual is in a hyper state of stress, chronic states of stress, the vagus nerve is one avenue that you can access to engage that rest, digest, and recover function.
And obviously, importantly, how does the machine work?
Oh, sure. Yes. So MindVybe is an ultra-low electrical current stimulator, and it accesses the vagus nerve at points through the skin, so it's non-invasive, and it propagates electrical signaling throughout the vagus nerve pathways as well as other parts. That's one function. The other function of it is that it also stimulates acupressure points on the earlobes. The earlobes are well known for being one of those spots that help to engage that calm, alert state. And so by introducing electrical stimulation in very precise waveforms, it is a modulating closed-loop waveform that actually is very similar to the ranges in which the vagus nerve fires. The vagus nerve, no one knows exactly what the mechanism of action is, but it will create a propagation of activity within the body that helps the body to rebalance neurochemicals. It's a lot.
That's wonderful. That's amazing. And what kinds of conditions can you use it for? What kind of people can you help with that?
Sure. So this is a wellness technology, so we really address symptoms of wellness and helping people to feel better. And these include things like reduced stress, improved sleep quality, improved clarity of thought, so reducing kind of that jumble in the head, reducing that cycling and rumination in the mind.
Like you might have after a major concussion?
Yes, yeah, like you might have after a major concussion.
We're trying to remember my address right now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Well,
my brain's back.
Not sure that this will exactly help with that, but it will certainly help. So vagal nerve stimulation has been shown to work on those pathways to reduce inflammation. And inflammation is one of the things that happens in post-concussive syndrome.
Tanya's become disconnected.
Oh, yeah, just grab the, there you go. Stick it right back in.
And you have some clinical trials going on with it at the moment,
yes.
Isn't that correct? Can
Yeah.
you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the technology itself has been based on research. Our inventor is an anesthesiologist. He's brought some other technologies to market. And we specifically chose a wellness pathway for this technology because it's so safe. It's the only stimulator, by the way, that you cannot overuse. You cannot hyperpolarize. And you don't hear many stimulators talk about that effect. But certain machines, if you use it too much, you can actually cease to have an effect or revert. Anyway, so this is why we first brought it a wellness route. But we also know that this sort of technology can be helpful with medical indications. And so right now we're doing an ADHD and autism study in Boca Raton. We're certainly looking to partner with schools in this area as well as other.
So it helps bring calm for the children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Ian. It helps to bring calm and reduce kind of that agitation that can sometimes happen. We've seen some pretty amazing effects from MindVybe with our practitioner down there.
Are you able to kind of talk about that a little bit without kind of obviously breaching HIPAA
Sure.
rules?
And the paper, too, you can talk about.
Yeah. So some of the symptoms we're seeing resolve out of this clinic, Dr. Alkali's clinic in Boca Raton. When he has put kids on the technology, he finds that he did a case study around things like OCD and ADHD, where it improves focus and reduces that perseverance. He had an autistic child who was nonverbal. After 5 sessions, be able to start to verbalize. And this child was able to verbalize an incident that happened with a caregiver that is now being investigated.
That's
Probably no
powerful.
reason
And
for that.
yeah. So for us, it's really important that we're able to get that data around some of these clinical claims so that eventually we can take the technology, a version of the technology, through an FDA pathway so that it can be
be a
more
treatment.
accessible to people.
Wow.
Sure. We also did a study with an addiction clinic in Pennsylvania, the Livengren Rehabilitation Center, where we found that the technology reduced agitation. We had individuals who no longer needed their sleeping medications. It helped with cravings and overall mood. We've done our wellness study in Philadelphia where we were able to show that it improved markers of well-being, everything from stress and patience to
Incredible.
just overall mood. And then right now we're conducting a study on breast cancer survivors and how MindVybe helps with feelings of well-being. Again, sleep, improved cognition, general calm.
Not in any way part of the cancer treatment, but just kind of supplement to it to help them go through it.
For anyone who's finished their
from it.
treatment, what Dr. Beth Dupree, she's an integrative doctor and cancer surgeon, talks about how you can cut out the cancer and cut out the disease, but the concern and the anxiety around that disease and the follow-up and the recurrence is something that stays with people. And so by being able to help engage that calm system, the rest, digest, and recover function, we believe it will be transformative for people to help them maintain that feeling of that sense of well-being.
I don't know if this has like the clinical accuracy, so forgive me, but I was thinking about you're saying this so calmly and kindly, but I want to scream about it in a good way. And because you were saying about the postpartum studies as well, around the actual cellular degradation that happens when we carry that inflammation and stress. So it's not just like, oh, I feel a little lighter, or now I feel a little better about, I had a mastectomy and I'm alive and I'm okay, or whatever it is around, the thoughts and feelings or anxiousness you have as a breast cancer or a postpartum with the, my baby is okay and I'm alive and I'm healthy and all those gratitude things. But also you're changing the chemical signaling that happens in their bodies by changing that focus on anxiety, right? So we're talking telomeres, endorphins, serotonin, right?
And
so
reducing cortisol.
So I know reducing cortisol. And so I guess for our audience who might not have the background in understanding why it's such a big deal to help reduce inflammation and stress, I don't know if you had this in your notes, Ian, but I was wondering if you guys could just really put that out there a little bit too, because I think the magnitude of how cumulative wellness builds upon itself longitudinally is kind of a big thing.
Huge. So think about
Mike's asleep.
Yeah, he needs that rest, digest, and recover. Anyway, if we think about how much we have normalized stress in our lives, right? That it's very common to be so stressed out you want to have a drink every night, or you can't sleep so you're taking gummies every night, or you just had a cancer diagnosis and you feel that in your pit of the stomach every time you think about what that means. And those stress triggers, there's a trove of science around this as well about how that incites inflammation. It actually impacts the parts of your hippocampus that impair all of those mechanisms that maintain longevity and those things that help your body function appropriately.
And obviously, your heart rate's kind of higher the whole time
Yes,
as well, things
yeah.
like that.
So
cortisol dissolving all the calcium out of your bones.
Exactly. And so one of my big, huge messages, and this was something early on, even before I got involved, was to help people recognize how stress is very much a part of their overall health and longevity, right? A lot of us focus on exercise and eating right. Well, that third component is the mind and being able to manage that stress in the mind, because it's all related. And it's easier said than done, right? Everyone says, go meditate, go do your yoga, find space. But when you are in a state of stress and you've operated in a way like this for years, it's very hard to understand what calm feels like. And so what we find with our technology is it helps people recognize what calm feels like.
And it gives you a feeling to go back to.
Yes. If you don't know where you're going, it's hard to get there. So now, and what we see with many people is after they used our technology and get a nice baseline, they are then able to employ other tools to get them to that calm state. They're now able to meditate for a little bit and build on that. They're now able to sit quietly without their phone. And so going back to, you see, I got all like hyper about this because yes, stress is something that kills. And when you have a diagnosis, whether it's cancer or some other life-threatening or existence-threatening diagnosis, it's really easy to go into that spin, which actually can impede your body's ability to heal.
And accelerate it a lot.
Yeah, and accelerate it. Which, just saying that, I'm sure is stressing people out, right? Because sometimes you feel you can't control that voice in your head. I'm here to say that you can control that voice in your head. And there are many ways to do it. This is just, MindVybe is just an accelerator.
What's next?
Oh gosh, so what's next for us? So we're a startup company. We are trying to get as many people on the technology as we can. We want to partner. We've actually had some partnerships and continuing to partner with schools and universities where they are looking for ways to improve wellness with their students and their faculty. We are looking for additional sites to participate in studies. And we are looking for practitioners who want to deploy this within their offices. So right now we are deploying MindVybe through practitioners or doctors or coaches. We are working on a home version that we hope to be able to speak about in the next couple of months. We'll be doing pre-sales.
You heard it here first.
Yes. And we know that having these at home for when you need them, it's really ideal because that way you don't have to necessarily schedule time to go see your practitioner. We also know that for somebody who has gone through trauma or somebody who's looking to up-level their performance, using MindVybe with a therapy practice, it enhances both. And it enhances both for a couple of reasons. One is when you vibe and you're out of your stress state, you are more open to hearing different ideas. And so when you're working with somebody and using the technology, it helps to enhance that, some of the lessons you're learning, some of the traumas you're working through, some of those new ideas.
Incredible. So how do people reach you if they want to participate and kind of help you in some of the ways
sure.
you
Or
talked about?
invest.
Or invest. Yes, we are in the middle of an investment round. In fact, we have a safe that is open now that for $100,000, you will get one of our MindVybe Pro machines. There's only 3 available. Or you will be on the list to get one of the first at-home machines. And then we're doing a much larger round that will close towards the end of this year or early Q1. But you can reach me at Ellyn, Ellyn, at innerstillhealth.com, and that's INNERSTILL health, HEALT.com. Think Innerstill. Or you can reach me at my contact information that I'm sure the podcast will provide.
Absolutely share that.
The other thing that's really good to know is this is just our first device. We have 2 medical device modalities under development right now that are being tested: transcranial direct current stimulation, along with a non-invasive deep brain stimulator. Again, same features, ultra low current, low risk of overstimulation or hyperpolarization, that is designed to help with neurometabolic diseases. These are things like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, autoimmune function. And so that is the what's next down the line as we're able to scale.
That's amazing. Please, people, contact Ellyn. This is magic happening.
Yes.
You heard it here. And Mike is It's great. It's me. We can't make this up, people. It's really good.
Yeah.
I feel pretty chill too, considering I'm always trying to always be in a good mood, but I've felt pretty horrible for a couple
Yeah,
weeks
that's
now.
tough.
So I'm selfishly very glad that we had planned this months ahead. Didn't plan it for quite this iteration, but thank you so much.
Things
Ellyn,
happen as they're
for
supposed to, right?
coming. Yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna go on a camera, but here we are. We're like, well, I want the treatment.
You know,
so.
the other thing is, if you are on pain meds from your fall, that can sometimes affect your autonomic nervous system and your neurochemical balance. And vagus nerve stimulation has been shown to be able to help with that neurochemical.
And regulating. I think
I'm not saying that MindVybe can do this,
right.
but certain vagus nerve.
Everyone's being very, very careful, as if the FDA is really watching my podcast. But if you are, we are being very careful with claims. Mike is sleeping now, but he's often said, it's so annoying because I'm always saying, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not a licensed therapist. These are just my opinions. These are our feelings. But there is a lot of science and data. There's also anecdotal. There's also testimonial. There's also a lot of foundational research on these things from other cultures and other countries from many, many years about how our systems work. And basically, we're in, it used to be PTSD was a military term, right? And I think about that. And I think about how it's ubiquitous for most of us are moving through some kind of trauma, some kind of nervous system response that you're just trying to struggle through. And mostly our response is medication that, and I'm not blasting SSRIs or anything because I did work in that industry and launched a lot of those. I'm just saying what they do for us isn't healing, I believe, personally, my personal belief.
Treating symptoms.
They are treating symptoms of depression or addiction or opioid use disorder.
Or even managing symptoms,
Or
not necessarily
rage.
even treating them.
Correct. And maybe dampening their severity, but not going to the root of why you're having them in the first place. And when you can sort of reset yourself to a place of that inner still, I believe you can start to do some of those other treatment modality work that we talked about, whether they be meditation or yoga or CBT or talk therapy or exercise or, you know, getting a hobby that gives you that release and that chemical signature that is optimal for health. And so for me, this is absolute game changer. We're so honored that you are in our world and that we get to partner with you and that you came today and rolled with the flow that I was like, all right, Ian's going to interview you and I'm barely functioning. And then we decided to do this. So thank you for rolling with, and that, see, Ellen's so malleable. She goes with anything.
Thank you,
The
Ellyn.
device.
But I think this is, you know, giving children the gift of speech from being nonverbal. And it sounds, you're being very careful when you said that, but obviously there's probably an incident or abuse issue. Like, this is the magnitude and range of how profoundly lives can change from something as simple as being able to express or to be able to be in tune with your body, whether it's a child or an adult. And yeah, I'm thinking, of course, Alzheimer's and dementia and inflammation. I'm talking about depression and even external rage, you know, violence, all the things that come from this dysregulated system. Yeah. So we're not making claims, but I can't help but want to make a corollary leap to the magnitude of what this technology can do.
Yeah, certainly, you know, with the right partners, with the right funding, I believe that we will be able to show the clinical relevance of our technologies within the lives of people in communities. We see how when people are more calm, they're able to relate to each other in a way that is more compassionate and more loving, right? When you are stressed and hypervigilant and somebody says something you don't agree with, it's very easy to flip them the finger.
Or you don't even, you just snap
Yes.
as a response.
I think
right?
MindVybe should fuel the merge. Like
The merge?
the merge, that's our campaign for light and dark coming together.
Yeah.
Treating everybody like they're your best friend
And
when you're in traffic and someone cuts you off, you know? So I'm sort of joking because if you're calm, it doesn't bother you.
That's right. You're able to say, oh, that person must be in a hurry.
Or having a bad day. Or
Yeah.
that's their
And
issue.
instead of coming at them like, you jerk, you can say, you wave
Kind
at
of
them.
empathize. I'm sorry you're having such a bad day.
Yeah. Or when somebody says something off the cuff because they're being defensive, you're then able to say, tell me more about that, as opposed to coming at them and saying, you jerk.
I love how everyone's like sort of trying to watch their language. Yeah, they're gonna have so much.
Next to the asshole.
Ryan
pretty
has to
chill.
clean that for the radio.
How are you feeling over
How
there?
do you
Can't say
feel,
that on the
Mike?
radio.
Do you know your
Amazing.
mic? I'm like, do you know who you are? Do you know where you are? What are those for?
So this is supposed to be 50 minutes, but I thought we were supposed to shut up for 50 minutes. So I don't know what
You did your job.
I don't know. I mean, to me, it's so I gotta ask. So now that I'm awake, can I ask a couple of questions?
Absolutely.
Am I allowed to speak while doing this treatment?
Yeah, sure.
And so while you recommend, go ahead and close your eyes.
Yep.
But so the question is, while I'm doing this now and I'm engaging with you, am I still getting the benefits of the treatment?
Yeah. You don't have to engage with it for it to engage with you.
Okay. So you didn't ask that question, did you?
No, I did not.
That
No,
was
that's a good
that
point.
was